Hello, Musto0063 back for Shovel Knight Part 8. Last time we went to the Explodatorium and took out Plague Knight, and this time we're going to be taking on Mole Knight in the Lost City. And I'm wearing my fancy mauve, purple, whatever colour that is, armour, which gives me a higher magic limit, but means that if I get hit, I'll take more damage. Perhaps unsurprisingly, there was a little hidden area over to the right here with a treasure chest and a fishing spot, but since it's probably going to take a little bit of time just to actually do the fishing and opening the treasure chest and getting all I need here, I might as well say off the bat that this, I think, is my favourite level of the game. Plains has my favourite music, I think, of the game, but this is my favourite overall stage. I really like the gimmicks in this level. I actually really like the music here as well. I think it fits the background perfectly. And the boss, I think the Knight, Mole Knight, is probably one of my favourites, or probably the favourite actually of the entire cast as well. So yeah, I love this level. This is probably, I think, almost definitely my favourite of the bunch. So we introduced to what looks like shield attackers for those Mega Man fans amongst you. They kind of move side to side. They have a shield, and you can only really attack them from the side where the shield is not facing. So yeah, like in Mega Man games, you want to get behind them and yeah, whack them from the back. We're also introduced to these Medusa head kind of enemies, which are blimmin' annoying, let me tell you. Not necessarily so much here, and they thankfully do kind of stop when you actually hit them once, so you can just kind of like keep pogoing on them, which is somewhat helpful. But when they start, combining them with pits and other insta-kill obstacles, which I think we're going to see in just a moment, then those enemies start to become really irritating. So yeah, we've got lava, and we've got this wonderful little bug thing, which you can just ride on there, or you can kind of bounce up and down on its backside, and well, yeah, bounce and get some extra height. So yeah, I really like this thing. Again, they kind of they give you one kind of section here, which isn't too bad. Not too many obstacles. I'm certainly leaving that floating head encased in that little area because I don't want to free it or anything. That would just get right in the way and make things really awkward. I'm pretty much going to avoid all the enemies here, so I'm kind of taking a path through that kind of avoids everything, because I don't really want to take the risk of getting hit or and getting whacked and falling into lava. If the lava wasn't here, yeah, fine, I might go and do some extra damage and get some extra gems and whatnot, but with insta-kill lava around, it's probably just not worth the risk. We've got this happy little fellow who shoots out two kind of sets of fire, a bit like the griffin that we saw, although two in one go. He also thrusts out a sword, but if you stand a little bit kind of on the left-hand edge of the bridge area there, I believe that you'll definitely stay out of range of his sword, and I also believe that you will. It's a safe spot for avoiding those two fireways as well. You may have noticed there in that little dirt pile we dug up, there was an enemy in there. There was a mole. So yeah, do be a bit careful in this stage. And indeed, there are some future stages as well where we'll have moles lurking in wait. But yeah, do be particularly careful in this stage with the dirt piles. Don't just think, oh, I'll go up to it and get some nice gems and whatnot. Yeah, quite a lot of the time you'll find that there's actually an enemy lurking in there. It's just particularly around lava, again, instant death areas, just waiting to kind of push you back and shove you in them. Not good. And I believe there's one here as well. Actually, there isn't one there. Well, I completely screwed that up, didn't I? We're also kind of, I guess, somewhat introduced to these types of blocks, the ones where you kind of just shovel them, shovel any one of them, and they set off an explosive chain reaction. So do be careful there. You also don't want to take out the second set, because it kind of builds a staircase up to the top right, which allows you to get to this area, which, by the way, is one of the most nerve-wracking ones or bits I find in the entire game. Just trying to traverse this area, bouncing on these enemies here is so nerve-wracking. You need to get that. You need to get that damn kind of positioned well. If you're just a little bit off, you won't pogo. You'll take a hit, and again, insta-kill lava just below you. You definitely want to come here. There is a music sheet, So yeah, definitely not an area to miss. But particularly that last one where you've got to bounce off 4 as well. If you've set off too early or too late, such that they you don't get a nice pattern for them, such that they kind of just lead you across, that section is really nasty. So there's this little section here where we're going to have to set off the exploding blocks and hurry up. There's easily enough time, as you can see, to get the gems up there, but yeah, don't dawdle in that area. And it's a kind of a little kind of all these kind of areas now. They're not difficult puzzles or anything, from what in what I would denote as puzzles. But you just have to be a little bit careful. Don't go gung ho here. Certainly don't pogo on this bottom one. You want to keep that area intact. Otherwise, you'll find that you've completely destroyed your bridge over to the next area. So yeah. Now we have kind of this bouncy floor and a rather obvious looking hidden area to the top, to the left, and what do you know it's Chester. And adding to my enjoyment of this level, this is probably my favourite item as well. I really love the use of this, the dust knuckles. So dust through dirt or dash through dirt. Now dash through dirt and photo like blah 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 blah. It's just so much fun. I don't know what about it is there. I'm going to get a feat here actually as well for hanging in the air for I think it's 4 seconds. So there's knuckle down. But I love this item. It's just so good. I don't tend to use it very much, or indeed at all, really, on enemies. I must admit, it's more just for kind of platforming sections. Obviously, a bit like this. I mean, this one. Oh, there was a mole in there. Good, because it just kind of escaped my attention before. But areas like this where you just couldn't get across normally, and I nearly screwed that up. Yeah, I love kind of just hanging in the air and doing those kind of that constant knuckling. It's super fun. It tends to be a little bit scary most of the time, either you're over lava or bottomless pits or something like that. So it's a kind of like a don't screw up or you're done kind of deal. But I really do like that item. It has a very inexpensive cost as well. As I guess you might imagine, given that you're kind of going to have to continuously use it, again and again. It's not like maybe a flare wand or something where you just use it once to kill an enemy or something. For something like that, by the very nature of the platforming area you're going to be using it on, you're going to have to use it multiple times. But yeah. Here we get introduced to the kind of goo, or whatever it is, that we can actually shovel and move across the terrain to get ourselves, into better positions to be able to bounce off things. And here we can see as well that if we shove the goo onto the lava, it actually encases the lava over so that we can now bounce on it. As you can see, it doesn't last forever, so don't dawdle, just kind of jumping up and down, bouncing up and down on one spot for too long. I shoved it off the edge of the left-hand edge of that platform just to get that gem, just to show it off. I normally wouldn't bother, but hey ho. And this bit as well, it kind of don't feel like you have to rush it too much. As you can see here, I waited for the platform to come back from the left-hand side and still had easily enough time. So yeah, tend to not try and rush that section, or you might find that if you try and rush and dash for the end, you might find you miss your jump and you end up falling in a pit or lava and whatnot. And although you need to be kind of careful there, don't dawdle again there, because you'll need the goo to freeze the lava to get up to this section. There's a music sheet over here, you'll definitely want to get it, so yeah, just don't dawdle on that bit. So yeah, I do like I really love the mechanics in this one. The bug, the bouncing, and even just the kind of these puzzles where you're kind of pushing these things. Even things like this where we've got the exploding blocks. So what I'm doing here is I'm breaking through and I'm slashing in midair just to make sure I absolutely do not pogo this area, or I'm liable to get stuffed. But I do quite like actually destroying it at the end of the day, and then obviously just having the night fall into the lava. Quite satisfying. Here, potentially, you could go over to the right-hand side and muck about trying to kill this thing, but I just decided, well, I really can't actually be bothered, so you know what, I'll just phase lock it through. But if you were doing that long way, you'd go over to the right-hand side, use the goo on the lava to get across, and then take out the giant enemy from distance. So here we have another little area with where the dust knuckles is going to come into play. You could just use the phase lock it, I guess, to get across certainly the top area anyway. The bottom, not so much. But yeah. Certainly for the top area, you could use the phase lock if you so wish. And here we have bug part 2. So we're actually approaching pretty near the end of the level as well now. So It feels like it's perhaps one of the shorter ones as well. I don't know whether that's just because I enjoy it so much, or I don't know, maybe it's just something that it feels like there's less lag on this level than there was on other ones. Apart from maybe King Knight. King Knight actually the recording seemed to work out very, very nicely as well. Not the other ones didn't work, worked out terribly, but yeah, there just seems to be less lag on this one in King Knight's stage for some reason. As you saw there, I had no real choice on this one but to release these blasted heads. Given it's a scrolling screen and they always keep on the screen, you can't just go to the right and they'll scroll off. That bit's probably the most annoying bit of the entire stage. So yeah, just be careful. Try and keep them kind of away to the left and tucked out of range, but not always easy. There was some food up there in the kind of the dinosaur remains as well. And you could obviously just shovel through this last little area, but hey, why not get out the dust knuckles? And with that, we have reached the boss. Mole Knight. You're out of your depths, Spelunker. Are you lost? These ruins belong to the ages, Mole Knight. They're mine now. But more importantly, is that your digging implement? I'm astonished you made it 10 feet down with that rusty trinket. I will bury you. As I said, I love Mole Knight's design. I love the boss fight. It feels to me like it's one of... Not that the other ones aren't crazy, but this one just feels like there's just so much going on. So he starts off by drilling through the wall 3 or 4 times. He then kind of goes to one area of the screen and shoots out all these blocks. He then tunnels down and then comes back up and then becomes kind of not invincible because with this fire, because as you see here, if you can shoot back the red fire that's glowing back at him, that will damage him as well. But then he kind of drops all these blocks down and traps you in a kind of a tunnel situation, and then yeah, I don't think we're actually going to get to see it here because I killed him too quickly, unfortunately. But he then goes, he does a very similar thing with the blocks, but now they're the explodable ones and they're giant, and you have to break through them. And yeah, it's a fun level. I love the ending there where the little tiny moles come and carry him away. When he does go to one side and start shooting out all those blocks, even the simplest thing to do, as I did there on that run, is get over to where he is and just pogo on his head. You'll automatically just avoid all the blocks that he tries to shove in your direction, and it does so much damage because he spends ages doing it as well, and you can just deal so much damage by pogoing on his head at that point in time. Again, apologies for the recording. As I said, it seems to mess up when there doesn't seem to be anything at the top of the screen. And yeah, that was the third night of this area. So yeah, we get the little dream sequence, and I abuse the phase locket because I don't particularly like this one. You don't have a clear the screen weapon that you do with a later one. I don't want to talk about that too much now because I've got it. But all these enemies are really annoying. You've got the knights with they put the shields up just to stop you attacking them easily. You've got the Medusa heads and all the things flying around. That becomes a really, really hectic enemy-filled screen with a lot of enemies that are annoying to kill. So I don't like that one. So I don't really need to use the phase locket, admittedly, because if I actually took enough damage to die, then I would be absolutely devastated. But for defeating Mole Knight, or at least the fifth knight from the Order of No Quarter, and the third one in that section, we again clear away some of the clouds and reveal some more of the map. So we've got kind of like another whole section of the map left to do. In fact, we've got another one after that, but getting way too ahead of myself. Now, that level did go by quite a little bit quicker than some of the other ones, so we've got a few kind of things. I thought I'd kind of put them in this part as well. A few other kind of loose ends to just kind of tie up, or other things to do. So I stopped by the village, I cash in a couple of music sheets. Why not? Get an extra 1,000 gold for doing so, or 500 for each one. I also have a meal ticket from clearing that dream sequence, so we'll might as well cash that in as well while we're here. And I think I'll also take the time, once I eat whatever this is going to be, to get another magic upgrade as well. So I'm actually just 2 away from the maximum I could be on the magic, and I'm now 1 away from life as well. I have 9 little red dots up there, and 10 is the maximum. Frankly, I think I probably could have bought the last magic upgrade while I was here, but again, I'm actually going to go and buy another armour now, again for the next night stage or whatever, just to show off all the armours, 1 in each of the 5, as I said. So I couldn't remember exactly how much the armour that I'm just about to buy was going to cost. So maybe I did the right thing there actually in not buying the final magic upgrade. As I say, I don't tend to use the relics or on the magic to its full anyway. So I certainly don't need 140, or indeed it would have been 150 if I got the last one. But yeah, back to the armour shop. Let's change up the armour, and I believe I spent a bit of time mucking around here deciding which one to actually buy. Eventually I settle on the Mail of Momentum, which says they're heavily plated. Keep your footing when struck by enemies, but stopping may be a problem. So the recoil is kind of taken away, but yeah, you don't stop as quick, so it's a bit like maybe more kind of Sonic physics, where it's going to be a bit harder to stop. And I realised that given the stage I'm about to play next, this was probably the dumbest armour I could have chosen for that. I had a kind of an idea in mind about which stage I was going to go, or which night I was going to go after next, and I probably should have changed my mind based on the armour I put on, or just picked a different armour, but yeah, I don't think I was thinking when I chose this one. We'll see next time who we're going after, although some of you may have, based on that little description, a fair idea of who it's going to be. We've also got this little extra level here. It's not, you saw the kind of the knight on the map screen, it's not like a Wandering Traveller encounter with a boss fight or anything like that. It's a little bit like the plane encounter that we had kind of way back at the beginning of the game, probably part 2, 3, can't remember. I think it was probably part 3. So before, where the previous one was obviously planes related, this one is clearly Spectre Knight related. We've got the backgrounds and whatnot, and we've got the somewhat irritating, or rather very irritating, lightning effect going on, or the darkness effect, where we can only really see, you can see in the shadow how much treasure came out of that chest, by the way. Wow. So these little counters, for want of a better word, or extra kind of level bits, are very, very good for treasure. And I am being a little bit kind of maybe overly cautious here, but I'm desperately trying not to create too many pits that I'm going to fall in, so I'm just kind of waiting for the lightning to flash so I can see exactly where I'm going. There was a mole there, I don't know if you saw that. Clearly in Spectre's night stage we shouldn't be seeing moles kind of being dug up from dirt piles, but oh no, there's one there, and that's certainly not going to be the last of them that we're going to see. But yeah, this darkness kind of gimmick, particularly in this area where it's just lots of enemies and lots of pits all over the place, I'm just being very, very cautious to wait for the lightning to flash to see where I'm going. This area here, I think I'm going to use a phase locket as well, because not only are they obviously pits and darkness, they put this giant thing here as well. So yeah, I'm kind of of the mind that with all these pits in particular, I really don't want to deal with you, so I'm just going to Scarper. You can deal with it, but when you can't really see what you're doing all that well, plus there's the danger of insta-kill pits to fall in, I just figured skipping it was the best thing. I also show off this shortcut question mark. Clearly it's not a shortcut, it takes us back to the village, but what it does do is put a catapult there. So if we now use the catapult in the village, we find ourselves on top of the armour outpost, an area we couldn't get to unless we did this. So there's a music sheet up here. If I adjust the trajectory, I should be able to target the village. I simply adore ballistic physics. Now, from the point of view of just going off to the right-hand side of the screen, showing off what you can do at the top, I did that, but you can also go down the ladder and it will take you to the area, the shopping area of the armour outpost. But yeah, which you couldn't get to unless you did this, unless you activated those catapults. I've decided there's no way to punch through. I wish I could just dash through all this dirt. Sorry, I got a bit ahead of myself. The Knuckler's Quarry is now where we're going to, and as the name might suggest, we're going to have to be using the Dust Knuckles, and that's fine by me because I love this item. You'll notice as well that now my magic has dropped when I selected this armour, so I was at 140, but I've lost my magic upgrade by wearing the armour, so I'm now down to 90 as a maximum, so I've lost 50. But that's more than enough to be able to get through here, or indeed anywhere, frankly. Particularly with Dust Knuckles, anyway. I think it only costs 2 per one, and they give you loads of potions all over the place. But as you can clearly see, what they love to do with this kind of gimmick is make things very hairy. So you've got insta-kill lava, insta-kill pits to fall in. Not that it's not a fun mechanic, it definitely is, but Unfortunately, almost by its very nature, it does tend to lead itself to have to be used in areas where there's long corridors and there's lots of danger around them. Now, I don't want to muck around here too much. I cleared as much as I felt like I wanted to. You can dust knuckle through this last little bit. It's perfectly fine. I just decided, well, I'm not really going to bother taking the risk. And here we can see we're mixing things up, so we're not just using dust knuckles. We have to use, obviously, the dust knuckles to get through to a certain point, but we've also now got these bubbles that we're going to have to transition off and bounce off of to get where we want to go as well. And actually transitioning from the dust, from hovering in midair with the dust knuckles to actually holding down on the controller or keyboard or whatever system you're playing the game on, can be a little bit tricky. So don't take that for granted. And we're going to have to do it again here as well. So this is the last bit of the area actually, so all the way through there, bounce off the 3 bubbles at the end, and we're done. We get a whole load of gems, and a treasure chest with a music sheet in, and a whole bunch more gems as well. And we exit stage right, and we are done. Yeah, that was a fun video, I say. A lot of use of dust knuckles, and it was Mole Knight stage, which is, I say, probably my favourite of the entire game. So, yay. But I will leave that there, so this is the end of part 8. And yeah, we'll see you again hopefully for part 9. Until then, cheerio.